I was listening to I got a great book. You got to read it. It's so good. The Malcolm X Autobiography. It's fucking amazing. It's so fucking good. I'm telling you, it's really fucking good. There's this moment he's going through his childhood, and he was super poor, like fucking Great Depression poor and all that. And he had like I think 7 brothers and sisters all living in this shit house, and they don't have any fucking money. And he said, my mom, anytime my mom would beat me, I would be as loud as possible because eventually the neighbors would hear, and she didn't want to get embarrassed, you know? And he said, I always learned that if you were willing to put up a fight, things never went as bad for you. So whenever I would want more food, I would say, I need more, I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more. And just to shut me up, give me a little bit more.
Wow. What a fucking powerful
Never
moment.
shut my mouth, you know? And I was like, fuck, that's good advice. You know, and he said, like, he's like, I had other brothers who and sisters, and they would be quiet, they'd be obedient, but I always ate better than they did. You know, like it was like, you gotta fight, you gotta fucking fight. And I think that mentality is going to be cultivated in America again. I think that we're due for some figures, some people to rise up and start changing some shit. You know, it's been a long time since America's had like a central figure, you know, like somebody to get behind and get excited for, you know, like a non-politician sort of guy, somebody doing something outside of the system where the system gets scared.
Did you read this Malcolm X autobiography?
Super short. It's
Oh,
really good.
this is the best type of biography.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
written by him. It's fucking good, man. Like there are these moments, like he talks about race so fucking like he gets kicked out of his home for crime, and he goes to like an intermediate school or whatever, and he's like I was a number one student, and they all loved me. They were like, wow, he's so well, he's the smartest in the class and all that sort of stuff. He's like, and they all called me nigger. He says, but there was no maliciousness in it. It was just what they called me, you know. And I was happy to be there, nigga. I was happy to dance for him. I was happy to do that. But he had this moment. And he said it was a defining moment in his life where his 8th grade English teacher always loved to give advice. He's one of these guys who's like, you know, you need to do this. You need to do this. And he's like, I never understood what this guy who was giving advice was doing teaching 8th grade history in the middle of Wisconsin, you know. But anyways, he gets up to him and he's like, what do you want to do, Malcolm? And he says, well, I guess I'll be a lawyer, you know. And the guy shakes his head and he's like, and he's so honest. He's like, I knew he was trying to help me. I knew he had no malicious intent in what he was saying. But he said, you're a nigger, you know. Listen, you're good at it. You'll never be able to do that. And because of that, well, why don't you get into carpentry? You would be an excellent carpenter. And he's like, I never forgot that moment. I never fucking forgot that moment where he only saw me as a nigger, you know. And it was one of those powerful moments where he was so honest about it, where he's like, there was no malicious intent, there was nothing evil about it, but it was so ingrained in him that they couldn't see the truth of it, you know.
right. That
Powerful, man.
I haven't read that book. I need to, but I've watched
Good.
Interviews with him, and
Fucking great.
oh, he's always the smartest man in the room. And there's a calm ease to him on stage. And there's one part I remember in general because they're picking at him, and he's like, you know, my concerns are not the conservative. It's the white liberal. It's the one that gives out their hand and says, I'm your friend. I'm here to help you. He's like, I don't believe a word of it. You know, it's all guilt ridden, you know, and insecurity. I was like, oh my God, he's again, just seeing through it. I need to read that. That he was a juggernaut as far as the intellectual capacity. Yeah.
He has I don't know if you know about his late stage in his life, but you know, he was big time, like hardcore Nation of Islam, like fucking like we need to make our own country sort of shit.
Yeah.
He goes to Mecca, and when he comes back from Mecca, he's a different man.
Yep.
He comes back and he's like, it's not about race, man. This is a class thing. It doesn't matter. Like when he was in Mecca, he's like, I saw every color.
And
every color.
and the brothers couldn't handle it and they killed him.
That is a fucking, oh man. What a fucked up place America is. You know how weird it is talking about the JFK assassination, and then you're like, and then 7 years later his brother was dead. too, And in that same year, Martin Luther King was killed. And the year before that, Malcolm X was killed. And you're just like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
What is this country of violence?
Well, and then you got Harvey Weinstein, who just magically kills himself and the cameras are off. And, it's just.
No, Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein. My bad. Jesus Christ. Yeah, but it's just. Yeah.
No questions.
Malcolm X should have been our Martin Luther King, man. If he was still alive today, he would almost be like a transcendent figure.
Yeah, no, I think that's 100% correct.
Because it was never a race dominated theory. It was always evolving. You take those examples from childhood and even coming back from Mecca, and I couldn't agree more. As a psychologist, seeing everybody I talked to, 30 different countries, every shade or hue of pigment you can have, dark to white. It's all existence issues. Yeah. It's all existence issues. To get lost in anything else is superficial.
Yeah.
You're stuck on race, you're down a peg or two, brother. Live a little longer. You'll see it's not the case.
To that, and I know that we've probably talked about this before, but that existential shit, man. The stuff that Yalom talks about at the beginning of his book, at the beginning of Love's Executioner. That's really, I've often brought that up a million times, like just this idea of those fundamental issues with, being alone, death, meaning in life, and responsibility. If you can take care of those things, which that's a motherfucker to do, then you have a sense of contentment in your life.
I've always loved it because it's been universal. It applies to everybody. There's not one soul I've met that it doesn't apply to on the deepest level.
Yeah.